What if the way you speak, right now, the rhythm of your words, the shape of your vowels, wasn't just how you communicate? What if it was a prison? A life sentence you were born into, with walls made of grammar and bars made of accent. Forget money. Forget bloodlines. Forget power. In this world, those are crude, primitive ways of measuring a person. Here, there is only one metric that matters, one thing that defines your worth, your future, and your soul, your native tongue. This isn't a history lesson. This is a thought experiment in social engineering, a blueprint for a world built on the most intimate part of you. So, let me ask you the question that underpins it all. What if your native language determined your social class? It starts, as all nightmares do, with good intentions. Centuries of war over land, wealth, and titles had left humanity exhausted. So they sought a new order, a rational system, something pure, objective, and impossible to cheat. They chose language.
The argument was seductive. How a person speaks reveals their mind, their discipline, their intellectual purity. So began the Great Linguistic Reformation. Governments didn't just rank languages, they weaponized them. Languages of high-born societies were surgically refined, stripped of messy emotion, engineered for cold mathematical precision. They became the dialects of the elite, the language of power. And your language? The one you learned at your mother's knee? The language of fairy tales and first loves? That became the gutter tongue, classified as chaotic, primitive, the linguistic sludge of the lower castes. Overnight, your mother tongue was no longer a gift, it was a brand on your skin. Your birth determined your dialect, and your dialect determined your destiny. And from this foundation, the walls of the new world rose. Imagine waking up in this society. Every conversation is a high-wire act. One misplaced vowel in a job interview, and you're out. A regional slang word slips out on a date, and their face freezes. They've heard the stain in your speech. They know where you're from. And they know you will never, ever belong with them. Schools aren't for learning. They're for linguistic correction. Children are drilled for years to erase the accent of their parents, to adopt the sterile, unnatural cadence of the upper class. Most fail, because the elite are smart. They created what's called the grammar of power. They constantly evolve their language, adding new layers of complexity, shifting pronunciation rules, making it a moving target that the lower classes can never hope to hit. It is a system designed for permanent failure. Your speech is your cage. But how could you possibly enforce such a system on a global scale? How do you police every single conversation? You don't need police. You just need a microphone. And in this world, everything is a microphone. They call it the lexicon, a global AI infrastructure, always listening. It's not listening for what you say, treason, rebellion. It's listening for how you say it. Every syllable you utter, every pause, every subtle inflection is captured, analyzed, and fed into your linguistic purity score. A single number updated in real time that dictates your life. That score determines the apartment you can rent, the interest rate on your loan, the quality of healthcare you receive, the dating profiles you're allowed to see. Fall below the threshold, your access is revoked. You are digitally and socially downgraded, relocated to a lower speech zone where the linguistic filth is contained. And the pressure to conform is immense. Human voices become sterilized. People talk in a flat, hyper-articulated monotone, terrified that a flicker of emotion, a sign of their primitive roots, might cost them points. Individuality is a liability. Regional dialects are a death sentence. Silence is the only true rebellion. But even this isn't enough. How do you make people believe this is right? How do you justify a prison built of words? You weaponize science. The state pours billions into neurolinguistics, and miraculously, the studies funded by the architects of the system prove exactly what they want them to. The official science claims that your language is a cognitive operating system. The high-born tongue, they say, literally rewires the brain for pure logic, for abstract thought, for moral clarity, while the lower tongues, they are a virus. They breed impulsive behavior, emotional chaos, and intellectual decay. It is the perfect justification. The elite aren't privileged, they are simply cognitively superior. Their rule isn't oppression, it's the natural order of things. Linguistic discrimination is reframed as a biological necessity. And if your language is just an operating system, what happens when they decide to hardwire it at birth? This is the final turn of the screw. Technology allows for genetic linguistic encoding. Children are no longer born with a capacity for language. They are born with a language. The accent of their parents is etched into their DNA. The cage is now biological. To change your speech would require illegal neurosurgery, a crime so heinous it's not punished by imprisonment, but by deletion. Your linguistic profile is wiped from the lexicon. You cease to exist. But life finds a way. Underground movements of polyglots emerge, heretics who use forbidden technology to hack their own minds, trying to synthesize and speak the dead languages. They don't do it to rise in class, they do it simply to feel something different, to think a thought that the system has made impossible. The authorities hunt them like a plague. They are not rebels, they are linguistic pollutants, a threat to the very purity of the human mind, which leads to the inevitable endgame. One imperial language, the final tongue, absorbs all others. It is the most efficient, the most logical, the most pure, and it is made mandatory, universal. For the first time, all of humanity speaks the same words, a utopia of perfect understanding. But a silent, creeping horror sets in. They achieved linguistic unity, and in doing so, they destroyed the human mind. Each dead language was a unique way of seeing the world, a different kind of logic, a different kind of poetry, a different way to feel love, or rage, or sorrow. With their extinction, those pathways in the brain vanished forever. Humanity's cognitive diversity collapses, innovation grinds to a halt, art becomes imitation, empathy becomes a forgotten word. Humanity is fluent and completely, utterly empty. The experiment worked perfectly. The system created a world with no accents, no dialects, no misunderstandings, and no social friction. A planet of billions, all speaking the same perfect words, with absolutely nothing new to say. So I ask you again, if your language defines your class, what happens when there is only one language left? Silence.